Y'all see the title? The title of this video is, are you raising or maintaining your children? And if you don't know the answer to that, I'm going to answer it for you right now. And the reason why I'm addressing this situation because, this is a serious topic that no one seems to want to discuss. No one seems to, I live in a small town, and in the last 6 months, a 16-year-old was gunned down by another child. A 15-year-old girl was stabbed by a 13-year-old girl. A 14-year-old boy was killed by another child. And this is in my small little town of Lake Charles, Louisiana, which is a very small town. So I could imagine what's going on in these bigger cities. Situation that happened with the young lady, Ma'Khia Bryant. Very sad, very unfortunate. But that all could have been avoided. But clearly she was not being raised. When I was coming up, man, once again, and I spoke about this already in the video. When I was coming up, man, I had run in with the law, with the police. But I knew once I had that run in with the law, with the police, I already was in a heap of trouble, right? But in my house, some things I was able to get away with. There's one thing that I never was able to get away with. I never even got, and that's disrespect to authority. The teacher called home and said Vernon was acting up in class, Vernon slacking on his work. I might be able to slip through the crack. But if that teacher called that house and say that I disrespected her, I might have well listen. It was gonna be hell when I got home. And so my time that I had run in with the police, like I say, I never disrespected them, even as a youth, because I understood, listen, I'm already in trouble when I get home for having to run in with the laws in the first place. And if they find out that I was disrespecting authority, that's just going to be making it even worse. And I was taught to respect authority. But of course, I came up in a two-parent home, and we understand that in the black community, like I say, this video is not just for black people. It's pro-Christ and it's pro-truth, so it's for anyone. But all these other races seem to be doing just fine. They seem to be doing just fine. You got other people that come from other countries and come land in America, and they seem to be doing just fine. Are they perfect? No, but they doing just fine. We seem to have multiple problems, and these problems, like I say, and this is what I'm speaking of, these problems is a cancer to the black society. It's multiple reasons, but these are one. That children are not being raised, they're being maintained. They're being had for a check. They're being had for more financial aid. They're not being had to love. Because see, anything that you love, right, you're going to protect it. You're going to raise it. You're going to cherish it. And I don't have any children, but I see people in my family. I've dealt with multiple single mothers, and I see how they treat these children. Not all of them, but a lot of these black women, they treat these children horrible. They talk to them like they trash. And then we expect these children to just grow up and be productive to their society when they've been getting talked to like dogs. And you wonder why. You have these kids at school that's bullies. You know why they bullies? Because that's what's getting put into them at the home. Hatred. Violence. You hear them sometimes. They'll tell, I see these single mothers all the time. They'll tell their son, make me bust in your mouth. And I look at him and I say, what is that going to do? Is that going to be productive? Because 9 times 10 is not going to hurt him once he's 15 or 16. And then, okay, if you do that as he get older, what you going to do when he get older? What you going to do then? And not only that, that hatred that they put inside these children that are being maintained, right? These children respond to the world. See, the mama, they love their mama. You love your mama. I remember Tupac saying this song, even as a crack fiend mama, you was a black queen mama. We love our mothers unconditionally. But that hatred that's being put in us by our single mother for whatever reason, sometimes it's because they look like the man that broke their heart and left them, which is they knew he was going to do that anyway, because his lifestyle told him that. But we're not going to get into that. That's another video. And they talk to these kids like dogs for whatever reason. A lot of them, they're upset with their life. And this might sound crazy to some of y'all, but it's true. I've seen it with my own eyes. Some of these mothers, You know, they done got fat, out of shape, and they daughters, you know, they looking at their daughters, and as a woman, they can probably see that she gonna be, you know, they jealous of their daughters. Some of these mothers, like I say, hate their sons because the son look like the father, might be named after the father. And like I say, some of them just unhappy with their own lives, and they protrude this on the children, right? And these children, like I say, this is the people who are maintaining. That's the maintainers I'm talking about. These children are extra food stamps. These children are income tax checks, and now stimulus checks. These children are Section 8. These children are just something to make it through life. That's all they are. They're not there to love. And see, the children that's actually being raised can sometimes be victimized by these children. Because like I say, that anger that's being put forth on them by the woman that they in love with, which is their mother, they go to school and put forth this on other children. And most of the time a child is raised, he gonna be more loving, right? He gonna be more soft. Because when he go home, he get nothing but love. His mama asking him how, his daddy asking him how was his day. His daddy going to sit on the edge of his bed, and instead of threatening him with violence, he telling him, "Why did you do this, son?" Okay, that's why you did it. Well, let me explain to you why that wasn't right. Or for the mother, this is why you shouldn't have did that, young lady. Instead of just slapping her and doing this, I was taught it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So. And that's the thing, you know, and a lot of these children, majority of them in my community, they're not being raised. They're being maintained. You can see it in the stores, right? And you see, like I said, we could talk about, this channel is a channel speaking on the rule. This is not a channel that's speaking on the exception. This is, in other words, I speak on the majority, not the minority. In other words, you might get on here and say, "Well, I see black white people and they kids." We talking about the black community right now because it seems to be affecting us more. That's why these young men out here killing each other like they doing, because they grew up in a house where it was all about violence. I'm gonna bust in your mouth. So they don't know about somebody sitting down actually talking to them and trying to talk a situation out and try to come to a consensus on why are we bad, why are we beefing with each other. Because that's not what their parents did. That's not what their mother did. Their mother just was always threatening them with violence. And like I say, a lot of these mothers angry at their own lives. They jealous of the daughter. They mad at the son because he look like his dad, or he remind them by name or whatever the situation may be. And like I say, the reason why I'm making this video, because it's not just an issue in their house. Because what they putting forward with their children is coming into the world, right? And the next thing about children that are being maintained, they're not taught authority. They're not taught to respect authority, right? And, you know, like I say, man, it's an issue. And that's one of the first issues that we have to tackle in our community. We have to raise our kids. We have to raise our kids. We have to love our kids. Instead of just always threatening them with violence and telling them not to do so, we have to explain to them and show them examples of this why they want you hanging with that person. This why they want you doing this. This why they want you doing that. And explain to them. Make sure you come to an understanding. You got to go days talking about it. Make sure you come to an understanding. And that's how, one way. And that's for the youth. That's for the youth. Because I understand that I'm 33. And that middle generation, like in their 20s, early 20s, you know, they kind of already made their decision. But I'm saying for the youth and for the parents that's going to see this. And maybe you didn't understand. Maybe you thought that clothing your child, feeding him, buying him some Jordans, taking him to school, taking him to practice, maybe you thought that was good parenting. But being a parent, I understand it's very hard. I've been a step parent. I've never been a real parent. Every stepchild I had, I did never believe in putting my hands on somebody else's child, so I never whipped them. And I always was pretty effective with my word because I talked to them and I explained to them, you know, certain things that the mother wouldn't explain to him. Like I'm gonna give you a few examples. Like one time I had a young man, and you know, he was curious, you know, about something sexually wise, and I'm not gonna get into detail. And his mama, you know, I do give her credit because a lot of parents don't even do this, and it's another good tip when it comes to raising and maintaining. If your child is always behind a computer screen 24 hours a day, whether it be a tablet, phone, whatever, and you're not monitoring that, you're not raising him, you're maintaining him. But this particular mother was, she was 50-50, I give her. And she actually would monitor his devices. And she seen something in his device that, was kind of alarming. And, she wanted to just tear him apart. And I said, you know what? No. And he loved me like a father. You know what I'm saying? He would be with his father and calling me saying, you my father. Which is, I really, because it hurt. Those type of situations hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because then when you and the mother don't break up, then the kid. But that's another story. But what I'm saying is, I say, come on, let's go take us a ride, man. So we went riding, and he explained to me, and I was like, that's and I explained to him, as a man, and that's and I went back and I told her, the woo, and even young ladies, I've had the same situation happen for young ladies. Like I had one young lady, she was in a situation where, she was about to, fail, and with her mama was, if you fail, it ain't gonna be none of this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that. And I'm like, listen. Let me talk to her. I had a conversation with a young lady, and I say, listen. I say, as a kid, kids are very cruel, very mean. I say, I know you got a lot of friends. And I say, they going to move forward. They going to go to the next grade. You're going to get picked on for one. Your friend might not want to hang with you the most. Because, that's just how kids is. You're this grade, and I'm a that grade. And do you want to experience that? And I hit a nerve when I told her that. It was a different perspective. And she came back, she passed. And she came back and she told me, privately, just me and her, I don't know, I never told her. She said, you know what, Vern? She say, man, your talk helped me. She say, man, I ain't gonna lie. She say, I don't like getting punished and I don't like getting whipped. She say, but man, I did not want my friends to leave me and be picking at me. She say, man, I had to do what I had to do. I got out of there and passed. So I'm saying a lot of situations you have to just talk to these children, and that comes with raising. But majority of these mothers in our community is not doing that. They just maintain it. Threaten your child with violence. That's not raising your child, right? Because, all that's going to do is put anger. And in some situations, that anger they grow up, and they'll grow up resent you. So, man, just take time with y'all children, man. And teach them too, for one. This is the most important thing. Teach your children to respect any and all authority. Cops, teachers, leaders at the church, wherever they at. If it's an authority figure, teach them to respect authority. And ask, and whenever don't never respect authority. And whatever happened, you come back and you tell your parent, and I'll take care of it. If they did anything wrong, you let me know, and I'll take care of it. You don't take care of it on your own time. That's number one. Number two, monitor your kids' devices. And in my opinion, they should have a set time. 8 o'clock at night, all devices coming. You need to confiscate all devices. And monitor what they was looking at. Go to their browser and go to history. And look at what they're monitoring. Look at everything. Put the certain parental blocks the way because those porn things pops up sometimes. Your kids, they don't have if they not being preyed upon, they don't really have that strength to fight. They being popped up a gate porn blocker. And now a whole gay spirit that got on your child. You don't know why he talking about. So we have to, and really I should have put that number one. Pray on your children. Not only pray for them, pray on them. Touch them, pray for them. It don't got to be no long drawn prayer. Just ask God to put his heads of protection over your children. Right? And, before you have to get violent, because sometimes, you do as a parent, you do have to, the Bible say don't spare the rod. So I'm not saying that you don't whip your children, but make that a last resort. See if punishing works first. Because I know my nephews, they rather get whipped than getting that Xbox or that PS4 took. And I know most kids today, they so tied in and connected to these devices and the Wi-Fi, you take that from them, is way worse than a little 5-minute whip. Always try to talk and come to a consensus and understand and explain to them why you're doing what you're doing. Because they going to understand that later. You know, I remember my dad used to tell me, my mom used to tell me when I was young, we whipping you because we love you. And man, I didn't know, I was hurting, crying, man, you don't love me. But as I got older, I understood. So explain to them why you disciplining them, right? Explain to them why are you disciplining them, what you trying to save them from, and show them examples, right? And make sure it's ongoing. Don't do it just one time. Continue to tell them, remember, this is why I told you don't do that. And like I say, always try and talk about it or punish them before action, which is whipping, right? And like I say, the most important thing is pray over. Pray over your children, man. Teach them respect authority. Show them you really love them, not by giving them stuff all the time, by spending time with them. Kids love time more than they tell y'all. Even though they might act like they spend time, force yourself up on you. This is your children. There's not nobody in the street. This ain't no man. This ain't no woman. Force yourself on your children, right? Come in the room sometime and tell them, cut the game off. I want to talk about your day. Tell me what happened. Why did that happen? What do you think about that? Make scenarios up for them and see and say and just make scenarios or problem solving scenarios, a life scenario, and see how they would get through it. Let them explain to you how they go get through it, and then you correct this whatever they said wrong, and you tell them the right way how to handle it. And I'm also big on rewarding children. When children are doing the right thing, I'm big on rewarding children who do the right thing. So in retrospect, I thank y'all. I thank y'all for taking y'all time to listen to me. I'll be back with another video, not today, tomorrow. And like I say, man, for those who stumbled across this video, and now you know the difference between maintaining and raising your children, please take the initiative to raise your children. It could help us all. Love y'all. Be blessed.